Good morning. It's me, Pearl, from Pearl and the Prayers. And this is Tuned In Tarot. And we are here to take a look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine sides of self. Understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us in our interactions with others, in our external environment. And if we want to see changes, in our situations and our ability to create the lives that we want, we have to actually go and shift the energy inside that's not working for us. So, on Wednesday, we looked at obstacles and how to remove them. And today, we're going to work on releasing and rebuilding. So, we're going to start with divine feminine side of self for the release process. And we're just going to look at the general energy surrounding what she was working on. So, the obstacles on Wednesday for her was really about trying to maintain a positive mindset, um, being really tired and wanting to give up, and the only way through that was to really kind of like be in her. Good morning, Lena. Be in her fantasy of the potential, which is funny because we've had times before where we've been warned about that, but it was this awareness that as long as you focus on these light traits, um, and keep a positive mindset, even if the that like just made it worse, when that happens, you're like not better. um, so with that energy of keeping this positive mindset, she's holding the space for this. Why? It's like so smudged. I need to see. I'm trying to think here. So she's keeping the positive mindset is allowing her to be able to like not be exhausted and hold out for what it is that she wants. Thinking about, talking about what she wants, not thinking or talking about what she doesn't want. So that was what she really needed to work on. And that is as good as we're going to get, I guess, which is not good. Okay. Frustrating. So that was what she was working on. So now we see her having to release the toxic patterns that or the toxic story, I guess, that she was telling herself. So we have her here in her headspace. We're using the Star Spinner Tarot. We have her in the moon energy, which is subconscious work, deep subconscious work, but it's also about fantasy and dreams. So she seems to have taken this advice and stepped in her headspace into more of this dreamlike space where she holds the space for this positive energy, without being attached to the outcome. So this is different. It's not like, positive thinking in order to get what you want. It's simply, it feels so much better to be in a headspace where I'm receiving love and giving love. And if the person that I'm have my heart set on doesn't match me, being really at peace with that person falling away, because as long as I'm staying in this headspace of, things working out, being able to kind of have clarity about the essence of what I desire in a person, in a relationship, and just understanding that I'm using that specific iteration to be able to get clarity about that, then even if that person doesn't step up, I'm still going to be attracting this energy that matches what I've been thinking about, which is this liberating thing, because it's like, oh, I can focus on this person that I want in a positive way. And if that person shifts, that person shifts. And if they don't, I'm still going to be attracting somebody that has all those positive traits. And that person will take my mind off of the other person who's not here. So it's like a win win situation for her to be in the dream space right now and to be reprogramming those limiting beliefs. This energy is accompanied by the Chariot upright. And I am using this deck, the Tarot of the Divine, and each one of these cards has fairy tales from all over the world, and some of them I don't know. And I got this card last night, so And I had the Chariot from the OG Smith Waite deck that I have got left out from a reading a few days ago. And when that happens, I'm always like, oh, I must need to focus on that card. And so I put the Chariot, the original Chariot, on my desk to focus on for a few days. And then I keep seeing it all over the place in readings. And then last night when I went to shuffle my deck, the same thing happened. This card was left out. So this Chariot energy is definitely surrounding her. What's really interesting is in this image, we're seeing the story. This is a Hans Christian Andersen story about the three princesses of Whitehead. And there's this man here who is promised before he was born to um, the some kind of a like sea god, some kind of a sea entity, so that his um, father could catch more fish. So he was promised more fish if he promised his son to the sea, some kind of like a sea entity. So when he's when the fisherman goes home, tells his wife like, "Hey, I got all this fish, but like I promised whatever is under your girdle," and he didn't know that she was pregnant, and so now he's like, "Oh no, we have to give this child to this entity." The child ends up going to the king, who takes pity on this couple and is raised as a prince. And in this way, they think they're hiding him from this sea god. And then eventually, he ends up on the sea. He ends up at Whitehead, where this place is, and he meets these three princesses. Goes through these things that involve a lion's gate. By the way, he has to walk through past two lions guarding a gate. So I thought that was interesting when I read the story. He has to defeat a troll. You know, it's a fairy tale. He has to do all the things. And he does a lot of things. He goes back and forth from the real world to this, like, sea land place. And in the end, of course, he does end up being able to reunite with the princess who he chose to become his queen. So the Chariot in this image with the fish and the plenty of fish thing that we associate with that, and the abundance that is promised, etc. So divine feminine, in the Chariot energy, we're surrendering the reins to spirit. And in this case, the prince has to surrender to his fate, which is to be the king of this Whitehead place, which removes him from the real world. So divine feminine is surrendering to this process of being in this ethereal space at the moment, creating what it is that she desires. And she's trying to use that energy and momentum to help her release that negative mindset that we saw she needed to release on Wednesday. Now, the hidden assistance for her in this is the Fool, which we also saw on Wednesday coming out in the position that it would help her. This is the tabula rasa, the blank slate, starting over, really, really believing in the potential for a new beginning with a different storyline. So this is helping her, this Fool's beginner's mind, this being willing to take this leap into this new thinking, this new way of thinking. And to emphasize that, we see that sword there, which is held in this case by Justice. Now, I don't know the actual story. I don't know which story this card is associated with, because I just got this deck and I don't know all of them. So forgive me, I'm still learning it. But just justice in general, we understand, is a balancing of the scales. It's learned karmic lessons. And it's just that there is justice that will serve you. So your beginner's mind, having this positive mindset in general, and the fact that this karma, just like this story here, where this prince had this karma that he really couldn't avoid. He had to learn that the divine was really giving him what he would most desire. Even if his parents were afraid that like what it was that he would want would take him away into a place where he couldn't be like everyone else anymore. He just follows that calling. There's like almost nothing he can do about it in that story. So that is helping Divine Feminine. Let us look at the first position. What past experience do I need to release? Okay. We're getting in the headspace, the King of Pentacles. Now, this is interesting. So I just got this deck also, and I realized yesterday when I did my reading, I think I kept saying King and Knight interchangeably because these cards have only a K or a K and an N. But this is for sure the King of Pentacles. We can tell by the crown here. The rabbit is this symbol of fertility and abundance. It's spring energy, rebirth, new birth, new. And this is like this is a lot of wealth, a lot of prosperity. And this is coming out with the Ace of Pentacles from the heart space. So the past experience Divine Feminine needs to release, it's multi-layered. There could potentially have been a past specific iteration that has made an offer or is holding on to an offer and not making it, something like that. It could be that in the past she had already accepted an offer, like maybe there has been a marriage here, there's a past marriage, and the toxic thinking about what that could be like is clouding her ability to have this new beginning because she's having a hard time imagining something different. It could be that the current person that she's interested in has made some kind of an offer in such a way in the past that she has not been able to accept it, or that person has not been able to give it. Whatever experience with a specific material manifestation of a divine masculine energy. Her past experiences involving this offer, getting it, not getting it, what it constituted, if it was truly abundant, if it was truly fertile, if it was about commitment, if it's like all those fears and anxieties she has regarding what has happened in reality. She has to let that go in order to be in this fantasy place where she is creating what she wants and not what she doesn't want. So she has to let go of reality, which is something Abraham Hicks says frequently. What can I do right now to soothe myself? Wow. Okay, so in the headspace, it's the Ace of Pentacles, which was what she needed to release. Now, look, she needed to release receiving an Ace of Pentacles from this material version who has been maybe protective, a little egotistical, kind of like off in his own castle, sort of a thing, detached. Maybe it was a past partner who was controlling. There's all kinds of layers associated with that for a collective reading. But now what she needs to do to soothe herself is think about this offer that she wants coming to her. Look at the difference in the gestures here. This is being held, is being pinched with the thumb. This is a wide open hand, and this offer, it's like almost as if it's being tossed up towards her. Like it's fully being offered. There's a gate here that we sort of envision someone coming through or going out of. And while the past experience was about a specific 3D iteration of some of your person, we now have the King of Cups in reverse. This King of Cups upright is a kind, compassionate, caring, loving king. Sensitive, psychic, just. And when he's in his shadow, this is a king that is completely silent, not speaking at all, because in order to maintain the illusion of peace and harmony, he can't reveal or express his true feelings. But when the King of Cups is finally able to express and pour out, then we're going to be seeing these offers that are going to be more in alignment with divine feminine's fantasy. She wants to be able to receive this offer from a matured King of Cups who is able to fully express and finally let go of that silence. So right now, to soothe yourself, you have to create this new image with the divine masculine, maybe that doesn't have a specific countenance, but thinking about one who is so expressive, who makes this offer, this bold gesture, not afraid of his emotions, not afraid of being able to fully express himself. And of course, this is your energy inside of self. So you being able to fully express yourself. If there is something you've been creating, something you've been making, if you are holding back and not giving full expression to it, this is your message from spirit that says, listen, if you want to soothe yourself in regards to this person who you're not receiving an offer from, then you need to take your own abundance and give that freely. And that can be like, for instance, as a musician, I create music. That can be releasing your music, promoting it, marketing it, doing all the things you know that will get your music heard, right? In my case, if it's a book for you, then it's writing it, getting it out there, sending it to publishers, understanding rejection's part of the process, and that Harry Potter was rejected 50 sometimes by 50 very sad and sorry publishers who are now shooting themselves in the foot every time they reject something that amazing, right? So you have to, in order to soothe yourself about whatever it is you're waiting for, you need to actually give expression to your own offer in some way, however that resonates. All right. Noticing all these blues also. So this is like speaking truth, expressing. What can I expect to encounter as I make space for new energy? Oh, you snuck 2 cards in. As you make space for new energy, in the headspace, we have this interesting 4 of Pentacles. Such an interesting card. We have like kind of a Rapunzel type of a character. There are 3 pentacles here, and there's 1 pentacle here, and that's either the moon or the sun, however you want to see it. And she looks relatively forlorn. Now, this is a card normally about building your financial abundance and prosperity, but it can be a card about letting go of something that you've been holding on to in order to allow it to come back to you. Because when you're clinging to something, it's counterintuitive. Like it needs to have that free will to come back to you. So in the headspace, she's going to be making room for that offer that we keep seeing. The Ace of Coins and 2. So far we have 2 positions, and both of them have the Ace of Coins in it. And then we've got this strange 4 of Pentacles that puts the Ace of Coins right here in this moon, which is right here. So it's like, what is she making space for? She's making space for, this is the Page of Coins and the 7 of Wands. So she's making space for a new, and look, we started with the King of Pentacles that she needs to release, and now we have the Page of Pentacles, a new offer. And the 7 of Wands is normally about standing your ground against opposing forces. So it could be that if there has been blocks or obstacles that the divine masculine has been facing, for instance, if he's not coming forward and giving an offer because of his fears of the repercussions of the union, if there was secrecy, there's the moon here, so we know there's things that are hidden, not yet revealed. So if there was secrecy in some way, and he's just kind of been people pleasing or giving into outside demands, and that's one of the reasons why he can't come forward. It's like divine feminine is making space for a new story, about a divine masculine energy that stands his ground and comes forward with a new offer, a new opportunity for her. And it's that missing pentacle, right? I'm sorry, I don't answer live questions, but if you want to get questions answered, you can come on Sunday on Instagram live with Grace Draga. We do answer questions and pull cards at the end of the session, but you'll get information from this reading that might help you if you are called here. So welcome. So Divine Feminine is making space by releasing this old offer. She is making space for this new one. And the storyline of a masculine that stands his ground against opposing forces and comes forward with something, even if it's small. This is the other thing. The King of Pentacles, he is so concerned about his abundance, about the material, about this having all this wealth. And so he's like sitting there trying to grow it, really not moving. Okay. The page has only a small offer. Divine Feminine doesn't care. She doesn't need anything more than this one pentacle. And it's her own creation. It's in her own fantasy that she's creating what it is that she needs. She knows ultimately that when she gets clarity, she's going to be able to give it to herself. She's not even going to need it come from outside of herself. But her ability to let go of thinking that this outside pentacle completes her and that it doesn't actually come from within, this is going to, releasing that energy is going to open her up to being able to get other offers, new offers from the specific person even, but ones that she no longer needs to be complete so she can have, which is the strange part of this whole process. What behaviors have gotten in her way? I can't make it up. What does she need to release? Pessimism. What behaviors have gotten in her way? This Nine of Swords, all this worry, anxiety, fear, fearing this demon energy. I literally sang the song that came up, I think it was either Monday or Wednesday, but it was the Fleet Foxes song, and they're at the most beautiful part of the song. It's Tiger Mountain song, whatever. Is when towards the end of the song, Robin sings, "I don't know what I have done. I'm turning myself into a demon." Right there, she is. This is her own consciousness. This is her own thinking, constantly overthinking about what? Pessimism. All the shit that has gone wrong, all the spilled cups, all the times that this specific person she wanted didn't give her what she wanted, all the times she's tried to have something and couldn't have it. This is fertility here. It's interesting that someone asked us about pregnancy because this is literally what Divine Feminine needs to release in order to come to a new place where she can finally receive what it is that she desires. So she's got to release her negative thinking about it. She's also just got to stop thinking about it in general. The Five of Cups asks us to be mindful of the two cups that are here, right? This is what she wants. How can you have this if this is what you are thinking about? You can't. So these are the behaviors she has to release. I'm working very hard on this. I think I'm doing a pretty good job because I did a mini reading yesterday, a half an hour reading, which for me is a mini reading, over on Instagram that was like, what would your person say to you? And I did both sides and what they would say. And I really followed that and it helped me. It was kind of extending the obstacles removed. It was sort of the more advice for how to release. So what can I do to avoid this overthinking? In the headspace, you are getting the Death card. We're going to go a little bit more into this card. I have to look a little more closely at it. And we're getting the Ace of Wands in the heart space. There's a lot of aces here. This is 3 aces. So in this Death card, this woman is holding a little baby who's it's actually a putti, or a puto. The puto are those little cherubs you see all the time in paintings and stuff. Those are called puto. I always remember them because one time my 18th century art history professor was talking about this gorgeous Rococo painting that because there was this movement during the 18th century where people went into this sort of bombastic classicism where it was like overwhelmingly decadent and really recalling like a past time. It probably was seen at the time almost as a little bit cheesy or dated. Like if people liked it, it was probably like an older generation that liked this style. And it was covered with all these little booties. And I always remember my teacher saying that like that she had two of her favorite moments in the 18th century. There's a painting called The Swing where there's a shoe that has fallen off of the foot of this woman that's being pushed on this gorgeous like swing in this garden. And you can see the tiny little satin shoe like floating in the air as it's fallen off of her feet. It's actually a glorious moment in painting. I think it's a Watteau painting. And then in this one, there was just this like really like up close little pooty butt. And she was like this little pooty butt like here. And I always remember that they're called that. So that's what this is. This is a cherub, an angel. And I've never seen a death image like this before. It's very interesting. And so there's this need for her to allow something that was very precious to her to be released. So the idea she had, the thoughts, the beliefs she had about this, what this was going to be like, or what this was going to constitute, or whether or not it was going to happen, etc. She has to let go of those ideas. She's been holding on to those ideas as if they were precious, and this is not the kind of thing you want to hold on to. You want to let that go, let that be free, so that you can have this heart's desire that you have and really be passionate and believe that you do get to have what you want. This is also about ending separation. If there has been a separation, having an ending to it. This, in and of itself, will bring about the end of these behaviors she has of like thinking this to death, right? She's thinking what she wants to death. She has to feel her way through her intuition, through her connection to that divine spark, that ego that kind of pulls us in the direction we need to go. And then she has to transform that energy. She has to transform it. So it's not having a specific material association that's pulling her into her worries, anxieties, and fears. Then we're looking at what is growing within me, or in a connection, if we're looking at this for a romantic connection, as I move on. So as you really, oh my God. So interesting. We are getting the King of Swords in the headspace and Temperance in reverse in the heart space. So the King of Swords is an extremely powerful, masterful, thoughtful communicator. Somebody who can definitely communicate truth. This king is in his integrity. This is not someone who's ever going to lie to you. He's going to tell you the truth, maybe even sometimes in a blunt manner. But this is mastery of your thoughts, right? If your problem has been negative thinking, toxic thinking about what it is that you desire, then as you release this energy, you're becoming the master of your mind. You're not, the King of Swords is not plagued by the Nine of Swords at all. He's conquered his fears and anxieties. The Temperance card in reverse is interesting because it's a card about balance, being a bit too temperamental, right? That's associated with it. It can be about healing because there is a protective energy that typically comes from it. It has usually an angelic being that's doing this pouring back and forth of these different feelings and emotions and helping to balance them out. And it's about also like that ethereal dimension as well, like a place where you're not quite here on the earth, you're in this ethereal plane doing this healing work. And I see for divine feminine that once she has this mastery over her mind, this healing process that has been taking place behind the scenes will have reached its completion. All right, let's go over now and look at divine masculine's general energy surrounding his rebuilding. So divine masculine side of self will be rebuilding now, the release of negative thinking and toxic thinking, and this willingness to surrender to this potential, to all of the options, opportunities that are coming very fast right now. Um, Now that we're releasing that negative thinking and allowing these new offers, this new ideas, this new beginning to come in, and really mastering our thinking, now we can rebuild what it is that we desire. That's sort of the theme. If we're reflecting back on divine masculine's obstacles on Wednesday, there was a releasing he had to do of a specific past energy, because I remember there was two Nine of Pentacles coming up in the release space, and there was these two different feminines with two different appearances. So it seemed like he had to make some kind of a choice or release one or something like that. And that was his obstacle. Was I'm trying to remember. I like almost have a photographic memory, but not quite. And I can't quite remember. I can remember the right side of the spread, but for some reason I can't think of the left side to remember what his obstacle was. But for the rebuilding, the general energy of the rebuilding process for him, we are getting the Eight of Wands in the head space and Judgment in the heart space. And I do not hate this pairing, especially when we look at all the major energy on divine feminine side, which I didn't even mention. Divine feminine's head space and heart space were four major arcana cards. Four. The Moon, the Chariot, the Fool, and Justice. So for divine feminine, we have a major release happening. This ability to master her thoughts and think positively about what she wants, not in a toxic positivity way, mind you, but in a way that's like having mastery when she starts to think about things that, first of all, I frequently have conversations with friends and clients who tell me a lot about their person. They don't know anything about what their person is actually thinking, saying, or doing because they are separated from them. But they will tell me extraordinarily detailed stories about the shitty things that that person is doing or thinking. And I always have to be like, but there's really no way for you to know that. Of the two of us talking right now, I'm the psychic, right? I have the most psychic ability of the two of us, the most developed intuitive ability. And I just read this person's cards. And I can't even tell you that. So why would you think you could tell me that amount of detail? You're not the psychic. You don't have the direct information inside of the other person's head. So any stories you tell, you are making up yourself. And you get to choose what you think about. You do. You make a choice. You do. It doesn't feel like it sometimes because we have so much chaos and we've allowed so much like distraction. But You are choosing your thoughts, and you do get to choose different ones. And that mastery over that process is a major transition for you. Once you become a master of that, your life changes drastically forever. It's never the same, because fear and anxiety is what kept you back from doing everything you wanted to do before. Now it has no power over you. None. You only trust your intuition. You only trust feelings of fear. And if you don't know how to tune into your intuition, I do help people with that. I have a Get Tuned In service on my pearlsprayers.com website. I have other services you can book there. And I do help people tap into their intuition so that you can be better at overcoming the power of the difference between your ego versus your intuition. So now that we've released this, we know there's motion because we saw this chariot. This is a forward motion. Like, we're keeping it pushing. Things are moving right along very quickly. We know that's confirmed over here for Divine Masculine. Eight of Wands is also about communication, really wanting to establish or send messages, or establish communication in general, send or receive messages, emergent ones, it seems. 911 emergency, as one of my readers always says. And this Judgment card is beautiful because this is the reconciliation and the rebirth that we see following a death, right? This is where you have to face the heat, though. You have to go in front of a judge, present your case, and seek redemption. But you do get it. That's the whole beauty of this card. This is the completion of that death and rebirth journey. So that's the general thing. He wants to rebuild this connection via establishing this communication, and he wants to go with the flow and just go into this connection. Oh, I didn't notice this because of the positioning of the words in this card, but for Divine Masculine headspace, his hidden assistance is the Chariot. And if you've been here from the start of this reading, you know what I said about the Chariot. It's been haunting me. Here it is again. And this is coming from the Small Spells Tarot deck, and I'm also using the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. In the headspace, we have the Chariot as the hidden assistance, which is that motion, right? That motion forward. There's also, I didn't even talk about it, but the balancing of the two parts of self, which allow for this Chariot to go forward in one direction. There's not two things pulling in different directions because they're both going with their ego. Instead, both sides of self have surrendered to the guidance of spirit, and spirit is a much better driver. So Divine Masculine's hidden assistance is to be on this team, right? Stay in this balanced state, in surrender to the divine. And we're seeing the Four of Swords in reverse. The Four of Swords is a card about silence, grief, mourning. It's about prayer, sleeping, resting. It can be about becoming awakened. When we see it in its reverse, for me, if we're looking at somebody who really wants to communicate and is awakening to that motion, to that forward pull, we're seeing somebody who is going to express. And we must acknowledge that this is a fully awakened masculine side of self. These are the two cards in the deck about awakening, and they're together in the state like this. To appear awakened has to be in its reverse. And look at the interesting color pattern and imagery we've got going on in those two images. Just very, very similar. All right. Let us look at the first position, which is what past experience challenges me in the rebuilding process. All right. So The first thing Divine Masculine is thinking of that challenges him is the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So the Knight of Pentacles in this deck is brilliant because it's a tree stump. It's not going anywhere, but it has deep roots. It's very stable. You can sit on this for every campfire you've ever wanted to roast marshmallows over. It's not going anywhere. It's always going to be there when you need it. And then we have these falling leaves, and then we have this hand, this palm reading kind of an image with flames on the end of each finger, which is an interesting thing, like a if you carry a flame for someone, like it burns forever, like these feelings or whatever burn forever. So this is a solid and reliable energy, but it ain't moving, right? It's not going anywhere. And this is accompanied by the Five of Swords in the heart space, which is this refusing to accept defeat when we're seeing it in its reverse. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not the 5, it's the 10. I just got this deck, so they're not all recognized. Ew. That's some painful shit right there, okay? So the 10 of Swords, the separation. What has been challenging him in the rebuilding process is that he has been going so slowly. And now that everything is picking up, there's a feeling of overwhelmment there, and he's having to release this stuck energy. What we're seeing is this has been stuck, right? This is pinned down, and this is rooted deeply. There's also deep rooted fears about betrayal here. He's going so slowly because he's trying to see any potential for betrayal coming from the divine feminine energy. And he's like always on his guard about that. He's blinding himself, right? He can't even see because these thoughts, these fears, they keep him from seeing the truth about how he's behaved, about his true reasons for going so slowly, all those things. What can I do right now to build my confidence? In the headspace, we're getting the 5 of Pentacles. And now I'm hearing My Brightest Diamond song that's like, there's a mouse in the kitchen and he's eating my cheese. Eating my cheese. I don't know what album it's on it. I feel like it's on the one that has like a horse on the front of it. But you should hear all of My Brightest Diamonds music. Amazing. So the 5 of Pentacles and victory, the 6 of Wands, and we got this card yesterday. This was the outcome card for Divine Masculine. This is what he wanted to tell Divine Feminine, like there is victory here. So his victory and his transformation inside of self should give him this confidence. And what he has transformed is his lack mentality, this feeling that he is always having to scavenge or like, store it away, that breadcrumbing, like just giving these little crumbs, transforming this breadcrumbing, honestly, like giving Divine Feminine only these tiny little, okay, here you go, here you go, here you go, here's something for your weekend. Like, thank you. I do love it, but also there's so much more. There's so much more. And so really allowing this transformation, he has these spoils of war that he's been sitting on because of his fears of lack. And he needs to be sharing this victory. That will help build his confidence. As soon as Divine Feminine can see the victory with him, there's no stopping these two. All right. What past experience what possible future challenges could arise? So, I wrote this spread. Like I designed this spread. This is called the Emperor spread. The one I just did on releasing was the Empress spread. And I wish I hadn't put this position in it because my ego is always like, oh yeah. And then I go right into the negative thinking of like, well, that's going to challenge him though. Like, remember your job, Divine Feminine. He needs to see the potential challenges so he knows what he's up against, right? Doesn't mean that it's going to happen, and keep that in mind. But the potential challenges in rebuilding are the Three of Pentacles in the headspace. For me, this is work, being very busy, having to constantly be dealing with 3D. This is like contracts and legal things and all this kind of stuff. It's also teamwork, partnerships, working with others. So he could have other people that he has obligations to that he has to continue to work with in the future. So if there was a past marriage, he could still have to work with the ex-partner, facilitating the, financial relationship that probably exists if there are children involved, or alimony, those kind of things. So it can deal with that, just sort of the 3D reality, like the mundane 3D kind of things. Work, former obligations, contracts, stuff like that. And the Eight of Pentacles, which is literally work, career. He has to, this is a gorgeous Eight of Pentacles because it is really about that process that the spider undergoes, which is there's a calling for the spider to build this beautiful thing. And this beautiful thing is how this spider is going to be able to get the abundance that is available from the universe. And that spider just has to trust in its instincts and intuition that if it builds what it is called to build, all the food it could ever possibly need will fly right into its trap, and it can be able to consume it. And then once the web has been fully utilized, it can move on and create another creation. So if there's anything that's challenging, that's a potential challenge for Divine Masculine to be able to have what it is he desires, it is this tendency for him to get focused on his material creations and lose sight in that process of the spiritual side. So it's like work over heart kind of a thing. So that's something that he needs to be mindful of. What's interesting is that when I first saw this card, because I just got this deck yesterday, or 2 days ago. I didn't know at first that it was Eight of Pentacles. I saw 8 and my mind thought the Eight of Swords, but only because I saw this as like building a trap for yourself. So there's that tendency Divine Masculine has almost to create an obstacle. What past behaviors have destabilized me? In the headspace, we are getting the Moon, which we already saw over here. So this is fantasy over reality. This is fear, like a lot of fear and anxiety that comes from the Moon. It could just be like an anxiety in general that destabilizes him. But fantasy. And then we're getting the Queen of Cups. We saw the Queen yesterday. She came out yesterday too. The Queen of Cups upright. Now, the Queen of Cups upright is really emotionally stable. She is passionate, loving, everything that we said about the King of Cups. She's psychic, sensitive. She can really swim and navigate through her emotions. But when I was looking at the Wild Unknown tarot guidebook for the Queen of Cups, because she came out in a reading, I noticed that they listed her problematic behavior, and it said, I'm going to grab it because I forgot what it said, but it applies. The Mother of Cups rivals the High Priestess with her natural psychic abilities. She's a gentle, tranquil woman whose insights bring healing to those around her. She thrives when amidst her family, the arts and music, or beauty of any kind. Like a true swan, when the Mother of Cups is pushed, she becomes aggressive and defensive. She'll commonly see herself as the victim when distressed in a situation. There it is. When divine masculine feels pushed by the divine feminine, we tend to see a like aggressive sort of energy coming from him and a victimization sort of thing. So I also see that his what destabilizes him is being victimized by his own fears and anxieties, which we know because the feminine side of self is working on rebuilding new fantasies and ideas because her fears and anxieties, the toxic negative thinking, have kept her from being able to achieve the transformation she desires. Hello, there it is. You were watching and you were like, oh, I want to know what my person thinks. And at the end of the reading, you were like, oh, that's all inside of myself. Yes. This is the part that we both, your person that's watching this, maybe, or not likely, but whatever, your person is thinking negative, toxic things about the potential, just like you are. They need to release that and think new things, have new ideas about their approach, about how this is going to go, about you, about whatever. You need to do that too. And your person that we're looking at right now that I'm holding up, that's also you. So that's why what's been destabilizing is exactly what you're doing. So divine feminine's potential to remember all the things that happened in the past and be afraid it's going to happen again causes her to do things that destabilize the connection. Run away, block the connection, go into other relationships because they think this one isn't going to pan out. Like, you name it. You're both doing it. It's destabilizing. You're a victim of your fear and anxiety. Both of you. So, have no fear. What can I do now to avoid this and stabilize? The Two of Wands in the headspace. But it's this interesting imagery of rolling the dice. And the Nine of Pentacles in the heart space, which is self-indulgence, rewarding the self, having worked really hard in this Eight of Pentacles energy and achieved your reward. So, what can you do to stabilize divine masculine? Stop waiting and go get what it is that you desire. Go get your reward. You rolled the dice already and you waited to see what you got, right? And you're getting this. You're getting your reward. So take the chance. Take the risk. Don't wait anymore. Don't wait anymore. Just take the chance and receive that abundance. And then finally, what future prospects do I have to look forward to once I rebuild and stabilize? The Six of Swords in reverse and the Devil. This is very interesting. So once you stabilize divine masculine, I think what this is there's no longer going to be this obsessive, codependent fixation on the divine feminine leaving you. This is this fear and anxiety that divine feminine is going to go away. She's going to leave you. She's never going to be. But that comes from codependency. It comes from fear itself, from the ego. So if you can stabilize this energy, there will no longer be an obsessive fear of her leaving. You won't feel that anymore. It is purely like you're creating a situation where Divine Feminine wants to leave by being afraid she's going to leave and not making a move. The second you make the move, this obsessive fear goes away. Bye. There'll be a new one that you get to work on with me next week. Okay, that is the two sides of self. Releasing and rebuilding. Now we're going to dive at 55 minutes at 9:33 a.m. You can't make that up, folks. I'm going to now start doing the oracles, which will take a minute. This could be a long reading. I do apologize if you have places to go, people to see. You can just pause it, watch it later. You know, I have embraced that watching my videos is likely a toilet activity. All right. For Divine Feminine, here is what will help you in this release process, or some of the messages that you need to help you come into this release. You're in the shadow right now of the warrior, Divine Feminine, which is trading ethical principles for victory at any cost and an indifference to the suffering of others. I'm not seeing that. What I'm seeing is that you need to call in right now strength, skill, discipline. Ooh, I don't like that one. And toughness of will, heroicism, stoicism, and self-sacrifice in conquering that ego, right? What is the problem? The ego. Being very afraid, right? That's the problem. So you just need to be a warrior and fight it off. Fight it off. Picture the thoughts that make you feel bad as like orcs, okay? You know, when I was so into The Lord of the Rings years ago, I remember coming out of one of them and being like, wouldn't it be great if enemies in the real world were just like orcs? Like in war, that's not what it is. In war, the person standing across from you with a gun is somebody's son who or daughter, and they have a whole history and they have all these intermingling connections with other humans, and they themselves are human, and their ideas are coming to them from propaganda fed to them by terrible people who aren't brave enough to fight battles on their own and send off other people to die for them. Okay, great. That's what human warfare is about. So you're killing other humans, which is not an easy thing to do. And if it is, you're probably a little bit sociopathic. And that's okay. There's a place for you in this world too. But if it was an orc, like an orc is this evil demon that was created from the earth and is like hatred, pure evil, doesn't have any redeeming qualities, not one. There's no tame orcs that like are nice and friendly in The Lord of the Rings. They are all pure evil. Very easy to kill. Like fun even. Like if something's evil and you get to kill it, I mean, I'm thinking killing is probably feeling pretty empowering to be like, you're dead and you're dead and you're dead. I'm sure that's very empowering. So, or like a zombie apocalypse, right? If it's a zombie, it's zombie. Even if it was your mom in a past life, it's not your mom anymore. Now it's going to try to eat your brain. Okay. So you're going to kill it. It's not that hard. It might be hard because it was your mom's body, but like the mom's gone, right? You can just kill it. Think of your fears this way. They are pure evil. They come purely from this guy, from the devil, whose sole purpose is to keep you from the kingdom of heaven. What does that mean? Are we in a Christian church and I'm like, you need to be chaste until you're married? Like, no, it's not that, but it is that. The idea of the devil, the personification of this thing that happens inside of us, where we trap ourselves in this bondage to our fears. It's just pure evil. just need to shoot it in its face. Like, be super violent with it. Be like, oh, bro, what the fuck? Like, whatever fear you're thinking, that doesn't have anything to do with me. Fuck you. And, like, get rid of it. And just think of something else. And if you can't do that, if your fears are so powerful that you cannot distract yourself by trying to think of the opposite of the fear, then distract yourself with something entirely that's just going to completely clear your head. Completely. Whether that is, if you can meditate, great. That's the best thing to do. Or pray. Pray for what you want, though, not what you don't want. If you're afraid of something and you keep thinking about it, then pray for your fears to be gone. Just pray for your fears to be released. Pray for to think about something else. Pray for a distraction. Watch a show. Listen to music. Like, I don't need to tell you how to stop thinking about something. You just have to recognize when you're a bit of a victim and you're doing everything you can to wallow in something because you're afraid of it actually working out and having to be responsible for what it is that you want now. Just saying. Okay, I better get moving. We're at 1 hour. Okay. Divine Feminine, this guardian angel is here to emphasize for you this pause energy, which is this reflection, this gratitude. I also think it's about this energy of just kind of having to stay here and like think about everything you're grateful for, gratitude and bliss. This is a thing that is, you're not going to have to stay in this pause for long. The second you tune into that, you get aligned into like everything you're thankful for, the pause is over. If you can admit to yourself that you have actually been keeping yourself in that pause because of your reluctance to fully be grateful for everything that has happened, you might have a different experience. Padre Pio is here. There's a healing energy. I have to tell you, your Temperance card also in reverse. There is a clear indication here that the mastery of your overthinking, negative thinking, toxic thinking is the true process of healing in its completion. And the assistance that you're getting from the divine is so powerful that you can kind of release your fears or worries that it's not going to happen because a higher power than you is taking care of it behind the scenes. A devotion to Saint Padre Pio could be helpful if you have that in your belief system. Now, we are getting happiness is my birthright, and I choose to learn through love. So, happiness is your birthright. Contentment is your birthright. Your well-being is our natural state. And that is what our body is constantly striving towards. Our body's like, I had a sunburn a couple days ago. It's almost gone now. You can barely see it because my body's natural state is not being sunburned or sick or ill. My natural state is well-being because my birthright is to enjoy this vessel on this heavenly planet that has all of these amazing, pleasurable experiences. And because you know that that is true, you choose to learn through love on this planet. That's what this planet is about. I don't know what other planets are about, but this one is about choosing to learn that happiness is your birthright through this journey of love. Your career, safe and protected, growing, strong, rooted, has deep roots. There's abundance and prosperity there and huge potential for growth. And this inspiration is coming out with it as to also. So it's like right now you are truly inspired in your career, in the work that you do. You have a passion for it. It might not be at that level of the King of Pentacles yet. It could be getting there. You could still be in this page energy because we got both of those in your spread, but it is truly growing, and its growth is protected and divinely guided. Luck is on your side. And this is a Sagittarius energy, and I'm thinking of like Cupid's arrow too. Like right now, this wheel of fortune has turned, and you are at this moment where you can receive this prosperity if you can release your fears that you can't have it, or that it's not going to happen in time, or whatever it is you're afraid of. You're getting this Starseed card. What lights you up? And it was in its reverse, so there's an emphasis there. I see this as star energy. This is another healing energy, another indication that the healing that has been going on is reached its completion. That the unconscious that has been inspired by this cosmos is now finally coming and pouring into this reality. And you are part of that process. Um, you have to keep thinking about what lights you up. Remember, if you're thinking about what is making you feel dark, think about what would light you up. Boundaries. What area do you need to establish better boundaries? This was in reverse. And what I think is there's two things. Number one, you always need to have healthy boundaries. You need to maintain healthy boundaries. And you need to navigate the process of allowing your new perspective about this specific person, but still maintaining a healthy boundary with them. It's not like now that you've decided that you're going to see them in the light, you're just going to accept all the old abusive treatment or being secretive or anything like that, and not actually see any transformation or change in the connection. It's that you have a willingness to be open to the potential and you're positive about it, but you're still on guard for receiving any kind of treatment that puts you in the old past energy that doesn't suit you anymore, right? So it's maintaining that delicate balance. Whoa, throwing the card. Hawk Spirit. Let Spirit be your guide. This is 32 in the Colette Baron Reed Spirit Animal Oracle. We'll go ahead and read the message today. I know this is like usually big picture thinking, but let's see what messages we get today from Colette. Flying high above the landscape, the hawk sees both the big picture and the small details, observes the rain and the pond as well as the cloud, and doesn't miss anything. When Hawk Spirit arrives, you are called to pay close attention to messages from Spirit that can appear anywhere in any form. Listen to your intuition and keep your eyes open for synchronicities, the meaningful coincidences. Hawk Spirit asks you not to dismiss the signs that Spirit is sending to guide you. Lately, have you been hearing the same word or song or coming across the same symbol here, there, and in the strangest places? Perhaps you hear a song on the radio with just the right lyric pertaining to your query, or you begin to notice uncanny billboards, license plates, or other places where repetitive numbers or words show up for you to notice. Pay attention to the animals that appear for you and connect with their symbolism. Spirit wants to communicate and reaches out again and again. When Hawk Spirit appears, it is a sign to listen. So, these messages that you're receiving in these readings, of course, are very important for you to listen to. That's an emphasis there. It's also about, I teach people to read cards. That was the service I had mentioned, Get Tuned In. You can basically learn to read tarot there. But I also just teach that you don't need cards to be able to read energy. Your environment is constantly sending you messages that you can interpret and tune into the way you feel, and the way you feel is an indication of where the energy is, etc. So it's like learning that, and there could be a specific message that you are ignoring, or maybe you're finally opening up to again and letting it in. Divine Masculine, let's help you out. You are in your Avenger energy in the shadow, which is resorting to violence in the name of a cause. I don't see you doing that, unless maybe you are doing that. I'm like, please don't do that. Light attributes is a desire to balance the scales of justice and of righteousness on behalf of society or oneself. I'm also struck by this travel. There might be some travel that you need to do, or there could be a delayed travel experience that you're having. Something that's going on with that is coming to me. But right now, there might be a sense here that you are trying to avenge a situation, or feeling like you're having a difficult time avenging a situation. Also, the Avenger is masked. He's anonymous. He can't show his identity in the process of avenging. And so there might be something there too about unmasking and coming into the light, taking off the mask, balancing the scales of justice for oneself and for society as a whole. So there's something here, divine masculine, that you might be called to avenge, that you're sort of afraid to do that. It might not just be about the union, but it might just be about even larger mission that is part of this sacred connection. You are getting look deeper. Your guardian angel is here to help you look deeper, and practice makes perfect, which is a card that you get quite a lot, and it's something that is uncomfortable for you typically. You like to just be masterful with things, and you don't like the feeling of not being perfect at it right away. You This look deeper card was actually in reverse, and coming out with this makes me feel like you're constantly telling yourself you need to go deeper and deeper and deeper into whatever it is you're trying to do, in order to make it perfect, in order to achieve this perfection. Like, you're like, I've only scratched the surface. I need to look more into this. I need to look. But I'm seeing this as kind of a stalling tactic. It's like, again, just needing things to be perfect before you can really make your move. And I think that that's really holding you back. And so you want to maybe look deeper at your reasons for why you don't like the feeling of not having control, because there is something that's still there under the surface subconsciously. I think that it comes up to the surface and then you sort of ignore the repercussions, and you don't kind of actually get in there and dig out what is making you need this perfectionism in your life. My vibes speak louder than my words. Attack, pain, fear, judgment, and any form of separation are merely calls for help. Boom. You say one thing, right? But then all these other things happen. These vibrations coming from you: attack, pain, fear, judgment, separation. Those vibes are speaking louder than the words that you might be professing. You might be saying things, but your actual behavior is showing that you're not actually in alignment with what you're saying. And you think that you can keep a mask on and hide, but behind words, behind an image, but all of your behaviors that you engage in speak way louder than this image that you're trying to project with these words. And it gets you into trouble. This is beautiful. You're getting family and peace. And I feel like this is your true desire. Like, you just want peace. You just want to come home. You want to have this sense of family and connection around you. And you just want to be at peace. I feel that from you so strongly. And I feel that it's here, that the Holy Spirit is here protecting the family that you have and helping to heal these wounds and give you this that you desire here in the material plane. The end of a tough cycle approaches, and it's reversed. For me, the end is here, right? It's here. We got death and transformation all over the place. This tough cycle, it's over. You have peace now. There's peace over your family. Your guidance is divinely guided, and the ever unfolding rose, it is not happening to you, it is happening for you. And I really think that you are starting to believe this, that this isn't something that I need to tell you. This is something that you deeply know, and your inner guidance is telling you everything that went on, it was for me. It wasn't happening to me. It really, truly was for me. And then divine masculine, you're getting cow spirit. The miracles are endless. And this is 15 in the Colette Baron Reed deck. You are at a beautiful point in your life today, for your needs are being met effortlessly and in so many ways. Fully embrace this truth by focusing on all you have right now, including the positive relationships that sustain you, the work you are proud to do to contribute to the world, and the activities that inspire you and nourish your soul. Cow Spirit nudges you to pay attention because this is the perfect time to focus on the choices, actions, and behaviors that you know feed your soul and bring your heart contentment. Now is also the time when you will see many of your projects and commitments that were set in motion in the past begin to yield valuable gifts that will bring you joy and love and sustain you for a long time to come. Stay positive and share your well being with others. The more you share, the more you will manifest. So be generous. Cow Spirit promises you will never run out of miracles. Beautiful, Divine Masculine. All right, let's close out. Well, first we're going to do the bottom of the deck, all the energy that's in union, and then we'll close out with some general tasks we can do today to come into alignment. Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine, you are in union right now in shadow. Your shadow is embracing negative causes or committing to causes for personal gain. And the light is inspiring you to put compassion into action. Okay. So right now, the both of you are having trouble. You're advocating for yourselves. Now, this is good. You had to learn to advocate for yourselves. There was many years where no one was your advocate, no one was advocating for you, and you had to learn how to do that. But you were doing that for your own personal gain. And you have both kind of stepped into this place of self-protection where you advocate for yourselves, but sometimes that means that you can't advocate for one another because there's compromise that happens in partnership. So you need to both start advocating for the union. And the union isn't about personal gain. The union is about coming into alignment. The personal gain comes from it because once you come into alignment, you just attract abundance inevitably. But it's not about that. It is about the actual union itself, advocating for a balance between masculine and feminine energy inside of self and teaching that to others through your modeled behaviors. Coming into union, the two of you bring two disparate parts into union in front of everyone who can externally see the process of your union. You then get to share the story of how things didn't happen to you, they happened for you, of how you learned how to release thought patterns that kept you stuck. You've both been thinking that this has all just been about you coming together. And as much as I emphasize it, you still have to keep being reminded. It's just like the Red Sea. You still have to keep being reminded that it is not about you. It is only about you, as in the you that is one with all things. And your role that you took on was to achieve union to be able to show others how to do this within themselves. That's what you're advocating for. Once you fully do this work, putting this compassion that you have learned into action and helping others come into alignment, that is when all of the things that you desire come to you. But it's not because you weren't worthy before. It's purely because when you advocate for others with compassion, including yourself, obviously you're advocating for yourself. In that mix, you have to have a full sense of your own worthiness in alignment with the others. The things that you want automatically are attracted to you, but then you don't even care about them as much anymore. Does that mean like when your person comes, you're not going to care about them that much? No. You're going to be pretty fucking stoked about that. It's not that. It's just that if something happened and that person had to go, whether he was called to the other side or she was called to do a career in another place or whatever happens, you're never diminished because you came into union in self. And that brought you all of the things that yourself could possibly desire. And you enjoy them without attachment. And then when you pass, those things pass from you too. And it's peaceful. Higher education, you've been receiving it. Here's your diploma. You're getting, congratulations. This is also Hierophant energy. There is a sacred union here. There is sacred lessons that have been learned. I honor how I want to feel. I do not honor how I do not want to feel. I honor how I want to feel. So if you are thinking about things that make you feel bad, then you are honoring your fear. You are honoring how you don't want to feel. If you think about things that make you feel better, then you are truly honoring how you feel. Forgiveness. Forgiveness, I just feel like you have forgiven each other. You've forgiven yourself. You've forgiven the two parts of self that aren't in agreement all the time, that have different ideas about how things should be done, that hold on to things that don't serve us. You've forgiven that part. And if you haven't, then you still have to do that work. But I do feel this peace that's here in this card today. Surrender to the divine. This is virtually the Chariot card, which we saw multiple times today. Continue to surrender to the divine. And then, oh, look. No more retreat. This card has haunted us. It is in its reverse for the both of you. There's no more retreat necessary. You have received deep replenishment. You have been held. You have rested. And just like we saw divine masculine fully awakening to this forward motion of the Chariot, that Eight of Wands, no more retreat is necessary. It's time to come forward. And then we got this for divine masculine. When he needed to overcome obstacles. There's Rhino Spirit. I think this came out yesterday, but this is pummeling through any obstacles that have come before you. This is also the divine detours thing, right? Obstacles are divine detours. It didn't happen to you. There are those ever unfolding roses that we talked about today for divine masculine. All right, now let us get some general energy for today. These are things that we can actually do today that will help this union come into alignment. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's 1:22 on the clock and 10 o'clock on my clock there. Please click like, subscribe, and share my content. That helps me so much. Go to pearlsprayers.com. You can hear my new single that came out on the 30th. It's called It's Me, Babe. And I'm very proud of it. And I really would like for a lot of people to hear it. So please go listen to that track. It's on all streaming services. It's Me, Babe by Pearl and the Prayers. And the link is right on the first page of my website. You can't miss it. Let me think. Today is Friday. So my next reading will be on Sunday on Instagram Live. It's usually sometime in the afternoon. It is with Grace Strega, who is amazing. And we've been using her page lately. So if you want to watch replays, you have to go and follow Grace Strega, but you won't be sorry. She does a one card pull every single weekday. And she is so much in the same collective. When we do our readings, there is so much synchronicity. It is crazy. So I hope you join us on Sunday for that reading. Let me just grab 2 more cards each, please, Spirit. That's too many. Oh, there's one. If there's any other announcements I have, not really. Alrighty. Let's look at Divine Feminine. Here are the things, minor things that you can do today that will help you release. You are getting the Grim Reaper in reverse, which is the relationship is over, no second chances, and grow and transform your life. And then you are getting the Separation in reverse, which says sadness, missing you, thinking about you, yearning, unsure of the future. Both of these cards are in reverse, okay? Then we're getting the Book card, which also has the 10 of Pentacles on it. And we are getting the letter card, which we also got before. And that actually has the 7 of Swords on it, which is like hidden messages. Okay, so here's what you gotta do today, Divine Feminine. You need to stop thinking about there's no second chances. This is over. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna be separated from this thing I want forever. I'm sad. I'm missing it. I'm yearning for it. I'm longing for it. Cool. Do you want to do that? Do you want to be sad? Do you want to be in separation? Do you want to be missing? Do you want to be longing for it? Do you want to focus on it? Well, if you release your anxieties, fears, and worries, create that blank slate, you're going to be able to really receive the information you've been seeking. This is telling me that everything you want to know about your happiness is being revealed. As you stop thinking about what you don't want and start to fill in the pages of this book with what you do want, then the secret things you've been hiding from yourself, the reasons you can't have it, the real things you want, like there are some things I think we tell ourselves we want because everybody thinks we should want that, and then when we actually go and get the information on our own selves, it's like, I don't even want that. Like, I don't even care. Like, like, ew, I don't even really actually want that thing. We can't know that unless we go and write what we really do want and get to the heart of it. So your assignment today is to release the fears that this relationship is over, or that this ability to manifest the thing that you want is not going to happen, or that you're constantly going to be separated from the thing that you want. You really have to do exactly what this reading told you and release that and write your new story and really reveal what you've been hiding. Really tell the story of what you want that you haven't been truthful about with yourself, with others. Like, I want my divine masculine to sweep in, sweep me off my feet, set me up, and help support me while I make the best record of my life. That's what I want. My past self, I think, would have been like, well, I want to do that myself and like be independent. I am doing that myself. That is what I'm doing. But when I have my forces combined with my divine masculine, I know that I will be able to make an even better record, because it will be the combined efforts of both of us supporting our whole family. So there will be no chance in that situation that I will burn out on my own, because I will always have a person behind me. I think I've been afraid to say that or write that down, because I'm like, oh, but I have to be an independent woman. I am that. Just because I want to share my life with somebody and have that support doesn't mean that I am not that person that can support myself. I can. I do. I have. It's happening right now. But my potential to support myself on an even higher level rests firmly in my ability to allow a union inside of myself and externally. And I am admitting that. So do what I just did. Write down or speak what you really desire. Yeah, I'm good and I can do a lot of shit. But combined with my divine masculine energy, look out. All right, divine masculine, here's what you have to do today. Okay, we are getting the chaser in reverse, which is chaser in a codependent relationship and fear of abandonment issues. And then we're getting paradise, happiness, expansion, joy, playfulness, oneness, and enjoying each other. We've got the Queen of Wands in reverse and the 7 of Swords in reverse, which we keep getting for you. So, divine masculine, you have to release your chaser energy, which comes from your fear of abandonment. So the things that you have to, so divine feminine is thinking about not having a chance with you. And she's got to stop doing that. She's thinking, oh, the relationship is over. It's never going to happen. I'm waiting so long. Blah, 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 blah. And you are like chasing divine feminine so that she doesn't go away because you're so afraid of abandoning her. You need to stop thinking about her leaving. That was the thing that you were, once you stabilized, you would happen. This obsession over divine feminine abandoning you, gone. Gone. No longer a problem, right? Not a problem anymore. So if you can rebuild, if you can take the advice from your reading today, you're really looking at being able to release this fear of abandonment and have the paradise you desire right now. This Queen of Wands in reverse, this is jealousy, anger, it's ego, a lot of ego, and the Seven of Swords in reverse. So this is releasing your fear that divine feminine is going to abandon you for another person, and also no longer strategizing ways to keep her from doing this. No longer, instead of focusing on how to keep her from leaving you. And that's the messages you send her. Oh my God, this is just so relatable to my situation. I get the most, I'm experiencing like all these loving messages coming through, and I'm just like, oh, so now if I love this, I'm gonna be with this person forever. And then his fears pour through, and it'll be like, you know, don't ever leave me, or you're gonna leave me for someone else, and all this kind of stuff. And I'll just be like, what? No intention of doing that. Like, none. It's this pulling me in and then shaking me that is causing me to be afraid of you. It's that fear you have that freaks me out. So it's like, if you stopped strategizing ways to keep me that involve telling me I'm a possession that can't be with any other energy, then there probably wouldn't be the running, chasing thing happening, because I wouldn't be afraid of you. There's no intention in me to be with anyone else. Obviously, I probably wouldn't have stuck around this long. This is a real pain in the ass. Okay? If it's been this big of a pain in the ass, what the fuck do you think it's gonna be? I'm gonna be able to handle it. So focus on the paradise that you already have and stay there in that paradise today. Enjoy each other. Be playful. Be less serious. Be less concerned and afraid and strategizing and worrying about betrayal and yada yada. All right. Bottom of the deck for y'all. We're getting, for divine feminine, the sun. There's that Ace of Pentacles we saw all over her spread. And we're getting, for divine masculine, the Five of Wands. This is that stuck energy. This feeling of kind of fighting against yourself. And divine feminine, that Ace of Pentacles, that focus on the offer and how the offer brings happiness instead of the other way around, which is happiness attracts the offer. The offer doesn't bring happiness. Happiness attracts it. So if you are sad and focused on the separation and yearning and longing, you're stuck because you're focused on how this offer that's not coming because it's stuck is going to bring you happiness. Instead, if you focused on how happy you are right now, with even the prospect of the offer, that attracts the offer. It's like you attract more flies with honey than with vinegar, right? And the bottom of the deck for the two of you is the mirror. Mirroring each other. Self-image relationships reflect our wounds and introspection. You are mirroring each other. We had so many cards that were the same on both sides. We know that you're both worried and thinking that things are it's impossible or you can't do it or it's not going to happen or it's not going to go the way that you want and you have to release that. We know that you both feel this momentum and that you want to come forward and have the rebirth and express and be awakened to the union. We know that you both can have potential material world things that can challenge you. Victimization, focusing on negativity. And we know that the only way to solve this problem is if you take a chance right now and allow yourself to have the reward. So, as a mirror, reflect what it is that you want, not what you don't want. Thank you so much for joining me here today on Tuned in Tarot. I shall be back on Monday for the check-in between the divine masculine and divine feminine energies. If you want to catch me on Sunday, you can see me again on Instagram with Grace Strega. We will read for 30 minutes, and then after that, I'll open it up for card pulls for you. If you want to ask questions, we'll pull cards for you to answer questions. You can ask us personal questions. You can ask us anything about learning tarot, whatever you want. It's just kind of open. Sometimes we talk about astrology, whatever sort of topics organically evolve. So if you want to be part of that, join us on Sunday. Pay attention to our stories. We usually put a countdown and announce exactly what time it will be, but it will be sometime in the afternoon. All right. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a glorious day today.